Natsuki, I love you too. Oopsie, I wasn't ready for this. I didn't think it would be this sudden. I wanted to sort things out with Sayori first, and made sure that the others were completely okay. Yuri is going to have a total meltdown. She's probably going to leave the club too because of me. Especially with how much interest I've showed in her these past few days. It would be shown. She's probably never going to trust anyone ever again because of how I led her on. What's wrong with me? Yuri and Natsuki are in a full-blown argument as Monica and Sayori are doing their best to contain the situation. I should have known this was going to happen.
Again, Yuri, it's not my problem if you two didn't make it official.
She really meant two as in the both of us. You two-o.
So if you don't like that, we're together now. That ain't my problem.
You should have at least talked to me about all this beforehand. Do you have any common courtesy?
Well, how was I supposed to know you liked him?
You could have asked me, you dolt.
Everyone's eyes glance over to my direction as I'm noticed by the group.
Ali, did you like Natsuki all this time?
You've been seeing Yuri this entire fucking time! What the hell is wrong with you?
I can hardly muster a response as everyone angrily eyes me down. I've royally screwed up.
Ali, step outside with me for a second.
But...
I don't want to hear it.
Monica walks over to me and takes me by the wrist.
Sayori, make sure they don't kill each other while we're gone.
I'll try.
Monica then practically drags me out into the hallway. Monica shuts the door just as we hear Yuri and Natsuki's argument kick back up. The only thing we're able to make out is more muffled yelling and screaming. Yeah, she probably thinks I'm a completely awful person to spend so much time with Yuri, only to completely betray her trust. She's never going to trust me after this. Monica clears her throat. Blah, blah.
You need to sort out things with Natsuki and Yuri.
Okay. Fine, jeez.
It's my responsibility to calm her down anyways.
Fighting. Can we get through this scene without more new dialogue? Maybe. Just maybe. Nope. It's not like we've really spent time together. It's so weird. They have all these random one-off lines that change based on our ever so slight options. And then they've got entire swaths of text that are the same. It's from Yuri.
I'd like for us to discuss what happened earlier in person if you have the time.
I contemplate my response. There's probably only one way this ends, and I know it's not good for me. I tarnished her hard-earned trust, and I don't know if I can afford to see Yuri in shambles right now. But if I still love her, I have an obligation to try to explain myself to her, don't I? I'm not really sure if I really want to see her anyway, considering what she said to Sayori. But maybe she just wants to apologize for it in person? That is something she'd do. But I thought I knew her well enough before she said those awful things to Sayori, so I do even know her anymore. Yeah, that's what this is. I do even know her anymore. Carrot, for whatever reason. Should I let Yuri come over? Alright, I'm going to drop save. We gotta hit both these options. I need to... Yeah. I'm gonna say yes first, and then we'll go back for no. I should work things out with Yuri. I start texting back. Yeah, you can come over. Yuri quickly replies back.
Okay, I'll let you know when I arrive.
Man, what? Whoops, dang text things. What am I even going to say to her? This day has been a complete catastrophe. I don't even know what I'm going to say to Yuri, let alone know what she's going to say to me. Maybe she just wants to apologize for what she said earlier. I mean, Yuri's never been that nasty to anyone, but today all my expectations went out the window. I can't believe anyone would have said that to someone as kind as Sayori. It's enough to make my blood boil. Maybe cleaning up the living room for Yuri's arousal would be a better use of my time. I can get angry at her later. I get off my bed and head downstairs to start cleaning up the living room. Just as I finish cleaning the living room, I hear the doorbell ring. Coming. I take a deep breath before walking over and opening the door. As expected, I find Yuri waiting on my porch. She looks up at me through a worried and panicked expression. Rather than having her stumble through words right here and now, I simply sigh and wordlessly invite her in. After closing the door behind us, I lead Yuri to the living room. We both take our seats on the couch, unable to make consistent eye contact with one another. I bow my head as I try to figure out something to break the tension. I'm not even sure where to begin. There's absolutely no excuse for what she said. Even if she doesn't know about Sayori's depression, it's just one of the things you don't just say to people. But I think I at least owe Yuri a chance to explain herself. We wait for several minutes in a painfully awkward silence before she speaks up.
What have I done?
I'm still in shock over everything myself. I wasn't expecting anything like that to happen, but I still should have seen it coming. I wasn't prepared.
There's no need to trouble yourself, Hallie. You don't need to justify my actions for me. I know what I did, and I could have stopped myself at any point in time.
But why, Yuri? How can you ever say something so awful, especially to your friend? I mean, I know you and Natsuki can get a little vicious from time to time, but this is beyond anything I've ever heard from you.
I know, and I'm truly sorry. Even if you don't believe me, I just want you to know that.
I can believe you, but I just want to know why it happened.
I think we both know the answer to that, sadly.
Eh? What do you mean?
Hallie, for my entire life, I've tried to keep my emotions buried as best as possible. I actually wasn't always like this. Matter of fact, when I was younger, I was probably somebody similar to Natsuki than anything else.
I was probably somebody similar to Natsuki than anything else. Whatever. You were like Natsuki? What changed?
Well, a number of things. For one, my environment changed. I picked up early on that people in the city don't find a loud, obnoxious girl from the countryside to be something that they like to associate themselves with. And I was never going to change myself for them. It didn't help that I developed earlier from the rest either. I was routinely picked on by others because of it. So I decided it'd be in my best interest to fade into the background, away from the prying eyes of my classmates. My personality completely changed in the span of just a few years. My parents and I love them dearly, never were able to help me thanks to their work, so I was forced to fend for myself at a rather young age. I never really opened up to anyone about my problems until I met my first real friend since I moved. She was the only one I ever trusted enough to turn to help when I couldn't handle things. And when she suddenly disappeared from my life without any explanation, I just shut myself off from the world around me. I always had an interest in literature, so I turned to that more and more as a way to cope. But it's not foolproof. Sometimes my emotions spill out into the open, despite my best efforts to control them. But you made me feel comfortable around you. You're the first person in a long time that I can truly talk to on a very deeply personal level. I started to develop an attraction to you, and it's not something I'm prepared to lose. So I felt threatened that I was going to lose the bond that we've worked so hard for. It certainly didn't help that Natsuki and I spewed some incredibly distasteful insults at each other. I really don't want to get into that. By the time you and Monica came back, everything had just escalated. I was so riled up that I wasn't myself anymore. So I unfairly lashed out at Sayori because I was pushed to my limit. I just hope you can forgive me, Hallie. I never meant to hurt her or anyone. I'm so ashamed that you had to see me in that state. But the worst part is that I know for sure that I've lost you. After everything, I still managed to fail in our friendship. I lost our ability to possibly grow together. I was too afraid to tell you how I really felt. You deserve someone better than me.
Yuri starts sobbing as I sit frozen in shock. I've always known Yuri to be an introvert, but not like this. While there's certainly no way she can undo the hurt she's caused Sayori, I'm glad to at least hear from her that she knows she's in the wrong. But I have to come to terms that I'm a pretty big reason she blew up in the first place. I helped make her lash out. I hand Yuri my tissue box. She gently plucks a tissue from the box and uses it to wipe her tears away.
Thank you, Hallie.
Yeah, no problem. We sit for the next few moments in silence. I wait for Yuri to collect herself before I say anything. I think I owe you an apology as well, Yuri. I messed up too, and I see now that I'm a pretty big reason this all happened, so I shouldn't be too mad at you. This really is all my fault. I led you on and I hurt you.
Well, I'm glad that we can see we're both to blame for this. I'm really sorry that it had to come to this.
Yeah, I am as well.
We've spent so much time together. So much to the point that maybe there was a possibility that we could be more than simply friends. You've been so patient and understanding with me. Truthfully, ever since the day you joined, I walked in looking forward to spending time together. It's the highlight of my day. And you helped me feel better about myself. I thought that because of you, I could finally feel love and companionship again. I had no reason to believe that you were trying to mislead me. But I shouldn't be surprised that as soon as I opened myself up, I found myself getting hurt again. It's happened so many times before. Why was I such a fool to let it happen again?
I bow my head in guilt as Yuri finishes her speech. It's hard to come to terms with how much my mistake hurt her. I never meant to drive her or anyone to this point. But we're both in the wrong, and we should fix things now before it gets worse. I feel like now's as good a time to note as any, although I might have mentioned it in passing before. This isn't really his fault. Like, my goodness, they weren't officially a couple in any capacity. They could have just been friends. If it was, like, escalated in her mind, that's on her. That's not his fault. And, like, even if he was into Natsuki, and he, like, accepted her confession there legitimately instead of under duress, it's like, whatever. He shouldn't be apologizing for his own feelings. It's like, it's not, maybe it's nice that he's prioritizing the girl's feelings ahead of his own, but he's not at fault. There's just no way I can say that they rationalize that this is his fault, other than, like, he was put on the spot. It's like, and that's just, he's a victim of circumstance. He's not at fault. I finally mustered up the willpower to speak up again. I'm sorry, Yuri. It was never my intention to hurt you or anyone else. Truthfully, my emotions are all over the place right now, too. I know it's not an excuse for what I did to you, but I'm in just as much turmoil over this as you are.
There are things between you and Natsuki official now.
I don't know. I didn't really expect everything to happen all at once. I just wanted to fix things between us first.
I understand. I'll try to talk to Sayori tomorrow. I have to correct my mistake as soon as possible. How is she?
I haven't had the chance to check up on her yet, but I'll text her later.
All right. Well, as far as things between us are concerned, I believe I should afford you the chance to try to forgive you for earlier as well.
That would be appreciated. We sit for the next few minutes in silence before Yuri speaks up again.
Do you think the club's ever going to be the same?
I don't know. Hopefully we can all put aside our differences in time for Monday at least, but after that, who knows?
Well, let's try to be optimistic. We've lasted this long as a group, and I don't really think any of us meant what we said to each other earlier.
I know. I don't know what I'd do if the club broke up, and there's no telling if there will even be a meeting tomorrow, given what happened with Monica and Natsuki.
Wouldn't Sayori try to attend at least?
I'd hope so. In all the times I've known her, she's always tried to overlook personal differences and disagreements. But hopefully we can all apologize to each other and go back to being friends.
I agree. Well, I'm afraid I have to get going. We should rest up for tomorrow's meeting. I'm really thankful for you allowing me to come over.
I suppose it's the least I could do. I trust that you'll stay to your word and work things out with Sayori at least.
I intend to make things right with everyone. For the good of the club, we need to ensure there's no lingering animosity between any of us.
Well, I suppose that puts us in the same boat, huh? We both let out an awkward chuckle before the room returns to silence. At least Yuri and I smoothed things over for the most part. Let's just hope it goes just as well for tomorrow with everyone else.
So, I'll see you tomorrow at the club then.
I'll be there. Just let me know if you see Monica or Natsuki around, too.
I'll keep my eyes open. And check on Sayori for me, would you?
I'll be sure to.
Well, I'll be on my way now. I'd hate to get into trouble with my parents for staying out too late.
I understand. Thanks for coming to me, Yuri. Let's just hope all this craziness blows over soon.
I couldn't agree more. Goodbye, Hallie.
See you tomorrow. I lead Yuri out the door and gently close it behind her. I'll watch out the window as Yuri walks off to the horizon in the direction of the nearest bus stop. That wasn't too bad, I mumbled to myself. I'm still a little surprised Yuri went out of her way to directly apologize to me. Even though she was awkward during that fight, I'm glad that she recognized her mistakes. It's going to take time for Yuri and I to move past what happened, but maybe we can get back to where we were soon. I just hope everything goes smoothly tomorrow. After finishing my nightly routine, I finally collapse on my bed, letting its comforting feeling take me with open arms. As I slowly drift off to sleep, I begin to reflect on my talk with Yuri earlier. I'm glad that we were able to work things out and come to an understanding, but I still have my work cut out for me. I have no idea how we're going to make peace with Natsuki, assuming we even can. At least Yuri should be able to make up with Sayori. Ah, damn it, I forgot to text her. She's probably asleep by now. And why would she want to talk to me now anyways? Knowing her, she's convinced herself that she'll just make things worse between us. Not to mention, I still don't know for sure if Yuri's cutting herself. Asking about it earlier likely wouldn't have gone very well. And, well, I suppose I should really be solving one problem at a time. Tomorrow's going to be so much fun. It's best to try not to think about it too much and just save up my energy. It's going to be eventful and stressful no matter how it goes down. Hopefully there's no more stupid nightmares too. With my prayer complete, I finally drift off to sleep. Alright, now let's reload and tell her no. Just hold your horses there, Munker. No! I don't want to be around her right now. I start texting back. I don't want to talk about it right now. I need some time to myself. Yuri responds after a few minutes.
I would have preferred to have said this in person, but I want to let you know that I'm truly sorry for how I acted in the club earlier. I went too far, and I know it. I don't expect for you to forgive me, and if you wish to never talk to me again, I understand.
I'm glad you acknowledged what you said was wrong. I'll probably talk to you tomorrow. Yuri reads the message. I see that she's trying to type something, but after a few minutes she gives up. I put my phone down and lay back down on my bed. Hopefully everything will have calmed down by tomorrow. Heck, I still don't know if I even want to go back to the club tomorrow. But given it's the last day we'll meet before the photo shoot, it's probably best I get working on laminating the poems for Monica. I'd hate to make this situation even worse. I walk over to my desk, pull the poems out from one of the drawers, and begin organizing them for laminating. I crash onto my bed as soon as I finish laminating. Even though it wasn't exactly the most time-consuming process, I definitely dragged it out by rereading Yuri's poems at least 100 times. My heart would sink every time I'd finish one of her poems, knowing how I helped her express herself. Knowing how I helped express herself. Sure, helped her express herself, and how I put all that into jeopardy. How can I possibly come to forgive myself now? I don't even expect her to forgive me. I should have taken her up on her offer to talk things through. I doubt she or anyone else at the club will want to be around me now. I probably like a coward. Is it even worth showing up to the club tomorrow? This happened because of me. I have a responsibility to at least try to fix this. If I make things worse, I'll never show my face there again. But if I can set things right between Yuri and I and restore at least basic civility to the club, I'll take that as a win. Regardless of how everything plays out tomorrow, it's certainly going to be stressful. It's best to try not to think about it too much and just save up my energy. Hopefully there's no more stupid nightmares, too. With my prayer complete, I finally drift to sleep. Okay.
You did well by avoiding Yuri today. The less time you spend around her, the better. We're so close to being together.
That's what you think, Munker. Yuri, I probably ruined everything there. Oops. By saying yes to Natsuki's confession. Yes, but maybe there's a way to explain things. It's not going to be easy to explain, and I doubt she's going to believe me. Same for Yuri. What? I don't know how I'm going to face Yuri. I really should have sat down with her yesterday. Who knows how she's handling all this? And if my suspicions about her cutting out right, this could be more dangerous than I thought. Maybe I can find out for sure later, even if the timing is pretty bad. It's not like I'm left with too many choices. Speaking of something else I can't avoid, I know I'm going to run into Sayori later as well. She's probably waiting outside for me right now, assuming she isn't completely done with me. Maybe I can turn all this around. Maybe there is a way to fix everything for good. Alright, Skip. Can we get all the way through to Monica? Well, of course not, because, we're gonna have to talk to Yuri, but I see a flash of purple before it retreats from my sight. It's alright, Yuri, come in. I try to sound as inviting as possible, but I probably ended up coming across just as sarcastic. Still, she seems to have accepted the invite. Yuri slowly opens the rest of the door and steps into the club room. We struggle to make eye contact with one another, let alone speak to each other.
Hello, Ellie.
Hey, Yuri. Yuri carefully sets her stuff down, but she doesn't sit. Instead, she turns around to face me. Her eyes struggle to meet mine. It takes a few moments before she finally finds her voice.
You know, I'm not really sure if I'm ready for this. I've never been involved in anything quite this dramatic before.
I can't say I have either.
I mean, who would have thought that the club would be brought at this point? I know I share some of the responsibility, but maybe if I didn't act out, maybe things would be better.
Yuri, this is mostly my fault. I wouldn't blame yourself, but hopefully we can make things right again here.
Yeah, me too.
Yuri's voice trails off as she anxiously stares at the floor. What's wrong?
What? Nothing. Nothing's wrong.
Yuri, how do I put this delicately? Look, I'm not holding you solely responsible for what happened. I think we all deserve some of the blame. You said some things that obviously shouldn't have been said, and I shouldn't have walked out on you guys. But I'm hopeful we'll be able to reconcile everyone's differences. Yuri lets out a sigh.
Ellie, to be honest with you, that's not the only reason I'm worried right now.
Well, what is it? Maybe I can help ease your mind over things.
Just don't tell anyone about this, okay?
I promise. Yuri clasps her hands together and takes a big breath of air in.